Through the study of linguistic mediation, I have had the chance of applying the study of languages in other fields. For this exact reason, I decided to match my passion for translation to a specific field that has always fascinated me, psychology. I decided to present two translation proposals of two chapters extracted from the same book, Making Evil, The Science Behind Humanity's Dark Side, written by the German-Canadian doctor Julia Shaw. The reasons of this choice are linked to two specific factors. The first one is related to the topics covered. As the title suggests, the book is a psychological essay that talks about the concept of evil within our society. The second reason is connected to how I've discovered this book. I was in Salamanca, and even if it's wrong judging a book by its cover, in the specific case it was its cover, so explanatory and evocative at the same time, that caught my attention. I read the back cover which said, "Let me help you find your evil empathy," not to be confused with "Let me help you become evil," because this won't be the message you'll understand by reading this book and my translations. But what motivated the author to write this book? Basically, her entire career. In fact, Julia Shaw is a scientist, criminal psychologist, and science communicator who has always dealt with social issues such as diversity and inclusion, as well as harassment and discrimination in the workplace. However, the topics which are covered in the book involve multiple aspects of the human being's life experience. There are more complicated issues such as terrorism and pedophilia, but there are also issues that we generally perceive as more personal, such as social prejudices and cultural legacies. In my thesis, I have dealt extensively with the concept of evil, and obviously I have also talked and explained the theory and technique parts of the chapters I have had translated. So focusing our attention on the technique part, I can say that these two translations are very different between them, due to the fact that the first chapter is translated from the original language, that is English, while the second chapter is a translation of another translation. In this case, the source language was Spanish, already translated from English by Álvaro Robledo. The method I proceeded is the facing page translation. That is to say that I divided the page in two parts. On the left part I read the text in the source language, and on the right part I read the translation in Italian. I made the decision in order to give the chance to analyze my translation process and to compare my personal choices related to the use of a specific word or the restitution of a specific concept with the original text. And also, in order to show visually where the problems I discussed in the thesis arose and how I solved them. Among the main problems I found the following. The first one, maintaining the form. The author decides to use such an informal and colloquial style to talk about topics which would otherwise be difficult to be understood. However, she doesn't decide to use complicated and sophisticated technicalities such as medical terminology, and she uses a fairly schematic syntax. It is also true that this choice has proved to be effective for the main purpose of this book, that is to say, make people think about certain topics. And this could not happen if the readers have difficulties in the comprehension of the author's message. A crucial choice that I've made during the translation process was comparing the same portion of the text in the two source languages, for two reasons. The first one is related to a vocabulary issue, because in this way I've had the chance to analyze which nouns and which adjectives were used in both languages, in order to understand the meaning and the signifier. In other words, what the author actually wants to say with the choice of a specific word. The second reason is related with the stylistic and cultural choice of the already translated language, which for me took on the role of source language. In other words, I have analyzed how it was translated the text from English into Spanish in order to be able to orientate myself as to the permissibility of change, omission, or additional explication, given that it's assumed that the public has a different cultural background depending on the language used to communicate. In my thesis, I have given for each chapter I've translated the main specific problems that I've had to face with, as well as the solutions I found and applied. For example, the title translation for both chapters. It was interesting to notice that for the title from English, I've opted for a full translation, while for the title from Spanish, I've opted for long words, even from English. And surely, I've also mentioned the most difficult cases, such as when you need to translate idiomatic expressions or ways of saying from a language to another. In conclusion, carrying out these two translations gave me the chance to professionally exercise myself on what I hope one day will become my job. It was propedeutic for my professional training, and at the same time it was really educational to work on this type of text and on these topics. Translating implies much more than simply writing the same thing in another language, and I hope that this thesis makes people understand how much work goes into a translation and into the professional translator, who, as Umberto Eco said, has to be able to say almost the same thing.